You letting the scouts outside. We running the scouts.
You know, there are times when I know what to say. I really don't right now. The Pittsburgh Penguins lost to the Montreal Canadiens 3-2 in overtime last night. I don't even know what to say. The Pittsburgh Penguins lost to a team with, let me count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 regulation wins. Ended up getting the Montreal Canadiens somehow into the postseason. And the fact that we can't beat this team utterly concerns me. You can literally compare that to the Detroit Red Wings. That's how bad that stat is. A team that you can compare to the Detroit Red Wings. A team that had 39 points and still got 4th overall. And we lose to that in the Stanley Cup qualifiers, which is technically the playoffs. That game shouldn't even went into overtime. Connor Sherry had the game on his stick on a penalty shot. And what did he do? He missed the net. And the funny thing is, that's not even the worst. That's not even the worst penalty shot. That wasn't even the worst penalty shot attempt that our player had that game. No. Just stay tuned here, because Jonathan Drouin, oh my god. Thank God the Ice of Scotiabank sucked in that overtime. Because if it didn't, that game could have ended earlier. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter anymore because Habs still won, but why don't we just go here? You know what we're going to do? We're going to go. We're going to talk about the first period, talk about the second period, and then talk about the third period. And then we're going to talk about whatever that overtime was. Let's get started. Okay, so the first 4 minutes of this game, the Penguins were insane. They already had 10 shots on goal in the first 4 minutes of the game. Montreal had a 1 shot on goal. And this was already looking like the Montreal Canadiens looked... Montreal Canadiens looked crappy. And the Penguins looked insane. The Penguins looked like they were ready for another cup win. They looked out of their minds. Like they always do in Game 1s of playoffs. They always come out of the gate flying. And Carey Price was all of a sudden looking like his 2014-15 Hart Trophy winning season form. He was insane. And the Penguins looked like they were absolutely going to dominate. This game looked like it was going to finish like 4 or 5-1 if the Penguins kept shooting at this rate. Because eventually they were going to have to break Carey Price, right? Because, you know, eventually that had to happen. Because the Penguins were literally at that rate. Literally, we're going to, like, what they were going, I don't even know how to word this. What it looked like, if they kept shooting at the rate they were shooting, Carey Price was going to finish with over 100 saves at this rate. Something we've never seen. That's going to kill the NHL record. At that rate, it looked like Carey Price was going to make like 100 saves. Not even figuratively speaking. They were literally on pace for 100 shots in that game, the Penguins, at that rate. And then, more toward into the middle of the, like, more like 5-6 minutes in, the play started a little bit going the other way. And it looked like Montreal was starting to get a bit chances here. And then, I don't even remember how much time was left. Then, like, either it was just before the 10-minute mark or just after the 10-minute mark. I believe it was just after the 10-minute mark. A shot from the point, I believe it was Brett Kulak, shot it. It deflected off of Paul Byron's stick and went right in front of Jesperi Kotkaniemi. And, you know, typical Jack Johnson, cross-checks Kotkaniemi, like, in the back, like, pushes him. It goes off of Kotkaniemi and into the net. Now, obviously, you can't really blame Murray for that one at all, because that was just a really fluky goal. And, you know, I could already see, like, oh, Montreal was going to score by getting fluky ones. Okay, so, obviously, they're going to have trouble scoring in this series. Yeah, that was wrong. So then, Montreal started from that goal. They started gaining a lot of momentum, and they started looking like a better team. By the end of that period, Montreal really came up and played with Pittsburgh, and by the end of that first period, it looked really even. And I mean really even. It was exciting, but it sucked because we were losing 1-0 to the Montreal Canadiens. And then in the second period, it looked like still back and forth, good hockey to watch. And then I believe it was like 6 minutes, 53 seconds into the period, Nick Suzuki comes in on a 2-on-1, and he lights it up. Guess where? Right over Murray's glove hand, and it's 2-0 Montreal. It's 2-0 for the Montreal Canadiens. At this point, I'm like, what is happening? We're losing 2-0 to a team that had 13 regulation wins this season. This team shouldn't even be in the playoffs. And we're losing to them. This is no. I didn't like where this was going. However, about 3 minutes later, you know, Captain Sidney Crosby decides to do one of his little typical Sidney Crosby moves. And you already know where this is going. He's behind the net, and what does he do? He decides to go bank one off of Price from behind the net and in the net. So it's 2-1 now, and I am actually happy. And I said, I believe in these guys. I know they'll tie it up. Well, then later in the second, their wish was my wish was their command. And Brian Rust got a rebound on the power play and scored. And it was 2-2. And I was really happy. And this game looked like the Penguins were... At this point, the Penguins looked like the better team again. They started coming up again. And it looked like in no time that the Pens were going to score again. And then they eventually didn't. And then after a bunch of back and forth stuff happening, you know, in the second period ends, score tied 2-2. Then, so, at the end of the second, the Montreal Canadiens had a dude who went to the box for the start of the third. And then 51 seconds, maybe it was less than that. And it was really early it was in the first minute of the third period that Ben Sherratt high stick to Crosby, and we ended up going on a 5-on-3. And guess what? This was like a perfect opportunity. Looked like, oh my god, we're going to score 2 goals and we're going to win this 4-2, man. I'm so excited. And then, yeah, the Penguins, I think, got like 6 shots on goal, and Carey Price saved all 6 of them. And once again, Carey Price looked like a little god that game, which, if you put any other goaltender, the Penguins would have won that game. The fact that Carey Price decided to go God mode all of a sudden is exactly what Montreal needed, and exactly what I did not want to see. Nevertheless, so after not scoring on that 5-on-3, and keep in mind, the Penguins were 1 for 7 the entire game on the power play. Our power play was horrible. We went 1 for 7. Brian Rust scored our only power play goal, by the way. Not even to mention, like, the amount of penalties called in the first day of the entire postseason. Like, we're talking about the Rangers-Canes game, the Blackhawks-Oilers, Pens Habs. We're talking, like, all the games I watched. There was so many power plays. I think there was, like, over 80 power plays by the time, across 5 games, there were, like, 80 power plays by the time, like, if you combine the 10 teams that played, 80 power plays. That's, like, 8 power plays per team. Yeah, it's insane. And yeah, our power play sucked. And then we have what I was talking about earlier. 3:03 left in the game. Connor Sherry, on a breakaway, gets hooked. The refs award him a penalty shot. They point to center ice, say, "You're getting a penalty shot." At this point, I'm ecstatic. I'm like, oh my god, we're actually going to win. Thank God. And then Connor Sherry decides to miss the net. He decides to go, whoop, and completely miss the net. And the fact, like I mentioned before, that wasn't even the worst penalty shot attempt in this game is sad. Thank God it wasn't for us, because I would have been over the moon of anger. Anyway, so the period ends, tied at 2-2, the first overtime game of the playoffs. Now keep in mind, as I mentioned, Montreal is terrible. We shouldn't be even going to overtime. We shouldn't even be having overtime. Connor Sherry should have buried that, and this should have been 3-2 Pens, and we should have won the hockey game. But no, Connor Sherry decides to completely miss the net, and Carey Price decides to turn it up to level 1,000 and go completely Mark Ambrose Duer overlord on the Penguins. And we're going to overtime against the Montreal Canadiens. Then, 6 minutes, 46 minutes in overtime. Jonathan Drouin, who literally attempted to do the exact same thing that Kuznetsov did, put it between Murray's, wickets. Had a on a breakaway, got hooked, and the refs point to center ice and say, "You're getting a penalty shot." At this point, keep in mind it's overtime, so I'm already stressed. My heart was in my throat. I was more nervous than anything. And then he was coming up, he did it, put it on his backhand, and Murray was on his stomach. The net was wide open, and then, thanks to the ice, the puck gets away from him, and he doesn't even backhand the puck in. He does a backhand motion, doesn't even touch the puck, and the puck slides into the corner. No goal. At this point, I'm saying, oh my God, thank God. Thank you, Lord. And then, we go a couple minutes later, and then I don't even remember. All I remember is being angry. Listen. This is what I remember. I looked up. I saw Murray really far out of his net. Which, no hate on Murray at all. I love Murray, but I don't think it should have been that far out of his net for this. He was pretty far out of his net. Like, he was standing, at the top of the blue paint. And Jeff Petrie fires a shot that goes top left bar down. And Montreal wins in overtime to a game that should not have went into overtime. And now Montreal leads the series 1-0. Now keep in mind, keep this in mind. If this was a best of 7, normal playoffs, I wouldn't be that upset. I really wouldn't. It's one game, I know you guys are saying it's one game, calm down. This is a best of 5 series. This is a best of 5, not 7. If this was 7, okay, I understand that. But this is a best of 5, where the first team to 3 wins wins the series. 3. The Habs already have 1, the Penguins have none. And if we lose next game, which keep in mind, I can't even watch because I'm going to be, I have a banquet to go to. I have a banquet. Yes, I have a banquet to go to. And that's from 6 to 9. And the game starts at 8, which means I'll miss the first half of the game, which is the most important game that we're going to be playing. That's okay. I'll be with my friends, though. But still, if the Penguins lose game 2, the series is over. We're done for. Throw in the towel. I mean, I have a tiny bit of hope, but, I'll still cheer and I'll still believe in this team, but realistically, we're done for. If the Pens win game 2, we're still in this, baby. the fact that this game should not have went into overtime at all. This game shouldn't have even went into overtime. We lost to the Montreal Canadiens. I still can't believe we lost. I still can't believe it. I cannot believe. Listen, I've been a Leafs fan. Okay, as you guys probably know. It looks like I'm crying. No, I'm not. I promise. I was about to, but I don't know. Okay, listen. As you guys know, and most of you probably know this, the Leafs are my second favorite team. I've been a Leafs fan as long as I've been a Pens fan. And even though the Penguins are my favorite team, and I'll cheer on the Pens over the Leafs, I still love the Leafs. They played tonight, by the way, against Columbus at 8. And what I've been through watching the Leafs, seeing them lose Game 7 in 2013 live, not like at the game, but like live on TV, in 2013, 2018, and 2019, and seeing them lose to a Zamboni driver, and yet again have a stacked roster and not win games, it's pretty sad. I'm really blessed to be born in Pittsburgh, to, my actual favorite team, and being born, more of a Pens fan than a Leafs fan, for actually being able to experience winning. Because right now, I always said to myself, I'm glad I have the Penguins, because I don't know if I'd be able to handle 2 Toronto Maple Leafs. Well, guess who's starting to look like the Toronto Maple Leafs? That's right, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Because I started choking on my own spit. I'm okay, though. But guess who's starting to look like the Toronto Maple Leafs? Yeah, I see that. I just did a Pittsburgh Penguins last night. I just started choking on my... See, I just started doing a Pittsburgh Penguins of last night. My allergies are really bugging me today. Oh, my God. Anyway. The fact that the Pittsburgh Penguins are starting to play like the Toronto Maple Leafs starting to concern me. Now, yes, they haven't lost any bad Game 7s. And no, I have water in my ear. Oh, God. And no, they haven't lost to a Zamboni driver. However, they're starting to choke against teams they should be beating. Game 2 is going to determine a lot. It's going to determine a lot. Now, the question is who's going to be starting. If this was a Game 7 series, I'd be fine with them starting Murray again, honestly. He didn't play that bad. Murray didn't play that bad at all, actually. I thought he played well, I mean, the third goal, kinda, yeah, I shouldn't have been that far out. And the second one, yeah, that was just a terrible glove hand. But the first one was lucky, fluky bounce. Besides that, he made some pretty big saves on chances we shouldn't be giving up. And let alone, Carey Price had 39 saves in this game. So who would I start for Game 2? Honestly, because if this was a best of 7 series, I'd be fine with starting Murray. But because it's a best of 5, I would put Jari in, see what he can do, and if he does good, consider starting him again. And if he does bad, put Murray back in net. I know Murray's probably gonna start Game 2, which, to be honest, I wouldn't be terribly upset about because he played good. Murray played awesome. There's a large chance the Penguins shouldn't have gave up. Like, he came up large on. And Murray didn't play terrible at all. But I would honestly say give Jari a shot at Game 2. See what he can do. Because they're both solid goaltenders. Like, I have faith in both of these goalies. I have faith in both of these goaltenders, man. The fact that people always blame Murray after a loss is dumbfounding to me. Because Murray, there are games he plays terrible. And then there are games he actually plays good. And he gives up 1 or 2 bad goals. And the whole fan base just shreds on him. I love Murray. I love him more. I mean, I love all my Penguins equally. Except Hornquist and Zucker, of course, because I love both of them. But I wouldn't hate Murray starting game 2. But I think we should start Jari game 2, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. Yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed this disappointment, make sure to hit like, subscribe if you're new. Tell everyone that the Pittsburgh Penguins lost to the 24th place team that made the playoffs and the 13 regulation win team, the Montreal Canadiens. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention this. I know people are gonna say like, it's just game 1. It's just game 1. Listen, for all the best of 5 series the NHL has had, the team that wins game 1 has an 83% chance of winning the series. I mean, yes, the Penguins still have a 17% chance of winning the series, but still, 83% of the time, the team that wins game 1 of a best of 5 series goes on to win the series. And if we lose the series to the Montreal Canadiens, I will be terribly upset. Now, if we get Alexis Lafreniere, that frown will turn immediately upside down, and then it'll turn immediately back to a frown again, because if we get Alexis Lafreniere, I have to stream via Pro as either the Flyers or Capitals for 12 straight hours. And I would hate that. I'm sure you guys would love it, because it's torture on me, but if we get Alexis Lafreniere, woo! If we don't get Alexis Lafreniere, and we lose to Montreal, I'm going into hiding for the rest of the summer. So, Pittsburgh, please don't fail me. Game 2, tomorrow, 8 o'clock on NBC. Let's go, Pens. Make me proud, boys. Let's go.